Morning, everybody. It's your boy Adam. Uh, got a. I don't even know how my morning start compares to the last 3 days. This is day 4 of the 4 days of work from home, and I'm just getting warmed up to the day, having my coffee, trying to deal with the fact I still can't take a shower. It is now April 18th. Still don't have hot water. Don't have any hot water now. It doesn't even, when you turn the tap on, nothing comes out. The only running water I have in the tiny house is the cold water tap on the faucet and the toilet. This stupid piece of shit could have. Oh, damn it! I'm not 2 minutes into the. I just checked again the YouTube standards, and now they're saying I can't swear in the first 7 seconds. So as long as I say good morning, everybody, how y'all doing for 7 or 8 seconds. Welcome to beautiful Houston, Texas. As long as I start out with something like that for the first, give it 10 seconds, I should be good to go. According to the guidelines. But, these things change every time you turn around. And when you look at have you ever tried to look up instructions for a piece of software? Especially Google or Android, and you type into a Google search, how do you do this thing on my Android phone? And then the instructions that show up, either in the search results or the AI box or whatever, will say, oh, go to the settings on your phone, go down to this section and click this option. And when you go to do what it tells you to do, there is no section with the label that they just told you, and there is no button with the label that they just told you. And because pretty much every 3 months they rearrange everything and change everything, and they rename everything, and they make it better, but they don't update any of the documentation. So you'll get 6 different answers when you look up a question like that, none of which will apply to the current version of the software because they went and changed it again since the last time the documentation was updated, and the documentation might have not been updated for the last 3 versions of the software. And it's mainly because these software companies are so fucking lazy. They literally do the absolute. The software companies are basically the same as my landlord. They will do the absolute bare minimum humanly possible to check the box off and say that the task is done. So, and they might take, let's see, the IRS. Perfect example. Elon Musk was sharing with us that they asked the IRS web development team to move the login button to the top right of the navigation interface instead of in the middle of the page on the home page, to kind of mimic and match the user experience of what most websites and applications are doing these days. That's part of user experience, is knowing what people are used to doing and not trying to rip the rug out from under them and force them to do something different, unless you have a good reason for making them do something different. Because there might come a day where the login button might need to move, but most logins are at the top right when you go to a website or an app. Anyway, the software developers who maintain the IRS website told them that it would be a minimum of 190 days or something like that. It was like 6 months to a year in order to make that happen. So Elon got a couple of programmers in there and they did it in like an hour. Because anybody who does this shit for a living would know. That healthcare.gov website, when Obama launched it, they paid like $600 million for a company in India to build that thing. And it was fucking broke from day one. It probably still is. I've never even gone on it before. The only thing that piece of shit did to help everybody out with health care was say, well, if you're too poor to afford health insurance, we're going to charge you a fine. Like, they wrapped it up in this whole thing like, oh, we're going to help poor people who can't afford health insurance. And at the end of the day, he just came out and said, oh, by the way, if you can't afford health insurance, you got to pay a fine, you fucking douchebag, loser, poor piece of shit. And these fucking Democrats love the guy. They love this motherfucker. And all I remember is, this was back when I had a career. I remember my health insurance premiums more than doubled after that went into effect, and the amount of coverage that I was able to get went down by like 75%. All of a sudden, I'm paying $300 a month to have a $10,000 deductible, which means if I want to go to the doctor or get health care, I gotta cough up 10 grand before the fucking health insurance even pays a dollar of it, and then they're still gonna deny. Back before Obama, I could go see a doctor if I needed to. Now I put it this way, I haven't been to a fucking doctor since I was 18 years old, except for two fucking times. Three times since I was 18. 4 times. I'm 49 years old. I've been to a doctor 4 times since I was 18 years old. 1, because I cut my hand and I had to get stitches. Number 2, I had this crazy cyst, but the night before my doctor's appointment, I fell on it playing Ultimate Frisbee and it burst. And when I went to the doctor the next day, he was like, nothing I can do. You did my job for me last night. He said, everything looks fine. You're good to go. The third time was, I can't even remember, but then the last time I saw a doctor was 8 weeks after I broke my arm, because I realized my arm might be broken. But it took me 8 weeks to get around to going to the doctor for that. The other one was, I think I had allergies, and the doctor didn't do shit. Alavert, Zyrtec. Those are the 2 things that helped with the allergies. And the allergies are solely dependent. I've learned over the years that when springtime allergies hit me, it's because I'm out of shape. Right now, I'm not going to get allergies. I would be very surprised if I have any allergy symptoms this year because of all the cycling and keeping my... This is just me. I'm not talking about anybody else. I have springtime allergies, different tree pollen. A chiropractor tested me and told me exactly which tree pollen it was. I don't even know how. It seemed like a bit of quackery, but I know for sure that it's certain trees and the certain pollen, because one time one of my best friends and I were camping, and we were camping under a tree that was dropping pollen all over us. And it was like one of the worst weekends of my life in terms of allergies because the pollen was thick. It was just like this yellow dust over everything, and you'd wipe it off, and 5 minutes later it would be as if you never even wiped your hand on the surface. And the whole weekend I could barely function, even with pills. But as soon as I'd get away from that fucking tree, everything would be fine. And but it was too late. We couldn't move our campsite. away from that tree. The tree covered the entire campsite, and there was nothing I could do about it. Um, just had to. I mean, I was able to. I had some drugs that would work, but when they started to wear out, it was a nightmare. Um, but when I'm in good physical shape, the allergies don't appear. It's only usually during the winter, I let myself go, not because I want to, but because winter just completely destroys me up north. The two things keeping me from going back north right now are probation and the weather. And I would suffer the weather to be near my children. But probation, that's a fucking nightmare to deal with. Here we go with the fucking sirens and the. Oh man, get me away from this fucking nightmare. This tiny house turned into a giant nightmare. I'm telling you. I gotta put on soundproof headphones to try to do my work today inside my own place because of all the noise that you hear outside. Nonstop. It's 24/7. I can sleep through it. I don't have. I do wake up in the middle of the night, but I always do. So it's not. I don't blame that noise for the waking up. But there's just lots of. Even the air conditioner in this place. I don't understand why. I Googled this thing. And everybody who owns this brand of air conditioner says the same thing, so it's not just me. It's not something that's broken, but this air conditioner, this brand, when it kicks on, it makes this loud bang sound, and then it shakes the wall. It like starts to vibrate, and it shakes the entire wall, and it does this weird thing, and it just makes this awful noise. And when that's one thing, when I'm trying to fall asleep at night, you just hear, you'll be laying there and all of a sudden you hear boom, and the wall shakes like that. The wall just starts shaking, and like the whole place just, when it kicks on and off, it's so freaking strange. And it's a brand new air conditioner. It's not. This thing can't be even 6 months old. I don't understand, but I finally got to the point. I'm like, what is going on with this thing? And you look it up on Google, and you'll find message boards and places. You'll find just tons and tons of people saying the exact same thing about this air conditioner. But it works. It has a built-in dehumidifier setting, so it will take out the moisture from the air, because the landlord, once again, he said he'd put in a dehumidifier. The landlord keeps saying he wants to put a second air conditioner in, because he's convinced that this fucking place is tiny, and that's a really powerful air conditioner. I can turn this whole tiny house into a refrigerator. Like, I can keep food from spoiling on the counter because of how cold this air conditioner will make this room. So I'm not worried about. It's the humidity that's driving that. You can't use the air conditioner setting for too long, because like at night, if I turn the air conditioner setting, because this dehumidifier setting, the air conditioner runs nonstop, and it just keeps getting colder and colder and colder and colder. It has no temperature. That setting of the air conditioner, it will not stop cooling the room, so the room will get down to like 50 fucking degrees. If it'll just run nonstop, and it'll get so cold I gotta put on a sweater and jeans just to sit at my desk. But it'll be dry. The air will be dry. But if you put on the AC setting, just the air conditioner setting, it'll follow the temperature setting that you give it, but immediately you start feeling the humidity increase. And the humidity is worse inside this building than outside of it. Even on a day that doesn't have a lot of humidity outside, you'll feel the humidity inside here. So there's something going on there too. Like, this is a mold trap, this place. I'm keeping it dry, and I know what to do to be able to survive my rest of my time here. But I keep telling the landlord, I'm like, get a dehumidifier, put a dehumid. He's like, what's that? He doesn't even know what it is, and I'm trying to explain it to him, and he just sounds. It's like, forget it, dude. When I move out, this place will be full of black mold in about 6 weeks. 6 weeks. The way that this shower is installed and the shitty caulk job that he did, I should take some close-ups of all these. This fucking place is so bad. The fucking covers for the pipe work. It's like he put caulk. A 5-year-old kid could do a better job putting caulk on the corners and ridges of a shower install. I don't think he understands that there's a tool that you can use to spread the caulk and make it even and look good. He just probably squeezes it out of a tube and smears it around with his finger, and that's good enough, I guess. But there's a plate on the wall where the shower knob is. It's all fucking loose, and there's no seal between it and the shower. The water, for the handful of showers that I've taken, the water just goes everywhere. Behind the shower, whatever you call that, the surround. There's all kinds of water trap back there. So as soon as I move out, that whole thing where the shower is going to be covered in black mold. Covered in it. I guarantee you. There's going to be so much mold in this fucking place within a month after I leave that it'll be uninhabitable, to the point where someone's going to call the city and be like, you need to come out and look at this fucking place and shut this motherfucker down, because this is like the most unbelievable dump. People keep leaving comments. Oh, it looks okay. When I first looked at it, I was like, fuck, because I wanted it to be, I didn't have any good options, and I was literally down to 1 week left to move. And I had no choice. I talked to the guy when he offered to give me a 6-month lease without me even asking. I was like, boom, we're done. This'll work. I'll make it work. But he also said he was going to do all kinds of things before I moved in, and he had a week to do them. And he didn't do any of it. When I got here and started and opened the door for the first time, none of the shit was done. None of it. And I'm like, and then on top of that, the water didn't work. The hot water. And so every day I've been here since the day I moved in, I'm trying to nudge this guy to do the things he said he would do. And it's just not happening. And I'm pissed. I mean, there's no other word for it. I'm pissed off. Like, this is the most ridiculous shit show I've ever seen in my life. I've dealt with some bad landlords before. I've had some really awesome ones too. I know the difference. I've never been a homeowner, but neither of you. Somebody left a comment the other day about how they bought an affordable home and their property taxes are $500 a year. And I'm like, well, that's not bad. Your rent is only $500 a year. That's not bad. The only drawback is you have to fix everything yourself when it breaks. But you only owe if you only owe your landlord $500 a year, that's like what, $45 a month for rent. So that's affordable. That's an affordable rent to pay your landlord. But you don't own that home. If you don't cough up your $500 in rent, you get evicted. Somebody else is going to be moving into your home. So you don't own that shit. If we get rid of property tax on the day that property tax ends, you are now a homeowner. You are finally a homeowner. You own, well, unless you're paying a mortgage, then the bank owns your home and you're paying the bank. But you have the option to be a homeowner by paying off the loan. It's just like, you buy a car. You don't own that car until you pay the loan off. You get the title in your hand. Now that's your car. That's yours. You own it. Typically, I know West Virginia has a weird property tax where they tax your car every year. So in West Virginia, you don't even own your car, because if you don't pay the rental fee, you're renting a car from the state of West Virginia even after you pay off the loan, because you owe the government. And I've heard that it's really expensive. I have a couple former friends that live there, a few former friends that live there who've told me about it, and it's ridiculous. You have to pay a property tax every year on your car. So you're renting a car. Basically, West Virginia is Avis or Hertz or Enterprise Rent-A-Car, and you're paying a rental fee to keep your car on the road. And I'm not talking about registration and license plates, because you can still own your car without having license plates and a driver's license. That can still be your car that you own. In most states, once you've paid off the loan, you own the car. You don't have to keep paying for it. The licensing and the registration fees, if you don't pay the registration fee, they're not going to come take your car. They just won't let you put it on the road legally. And if you do get caught driving it, you have a bunch of problems, but they won't take your ar. They'll just make it so you can't drive it. It's a difference. But in West Virginia, if you don't pay your rent to the government for your car, they're going to come and take that shit. It's over. Same with your home. If to that guy who left the comment, if you don't pay your $500 a year in rent to your landlord, which happens to be the state that you live in, or the county that you live in, guess what? They're coming to take your shit. So it's not yours. If you have to pay, see, that's the thing. People, homeowners, quote unquote, homeowners get so pissed off. They get mad. Like, they get mad and get really nasty with me because they know I'm right. And it makes them angry. They know I'm telling the truth. They want to be a homeowner so bad. They want to own their home and pretend, but it's all pretend right now. You don't own your home. You get more options with what you want to do with it. But number one, okay, when you want to change something about your home, like, I'm a renter. So if I want to change something, if I want to paint something a different color, if I want to build something, if I want to modify the place, what do I have to do? I have to get permission first from the landlord. When you want to do something to your home, you want to build a new room, you want to do something, you want to change the color, guess what? You have to go get permission first. You have to get a permit, which is permission slip. You have to get permission from your landlord before you can change things. That's just like renting a home. You have to get permission from your landlord. At the end of the year, your landlord is going to demand that rent payment in the form of property tax. And guess what? If you don't pay that shit, you're going to get a notice in the mail saying you're getting evicted. Pack your shit and leave. Either pay up, pay the rent, or get the fuck out. And they'll take it from you. They'll show up with guns and police, and they'll escort you off the property at gunpoint, and they might even put you in jail if you resist. That's not ownership. You don't own your fucking home. You're just renting it. You just have a better rental agreement than you would having a lease with a landlord that gives you a little bit more freedom and permission to do things that you wouldn't be able to do if you were just renting it from a landlord who also is renting the property from the government. And people try pointing out, well, you pay property. No shit. The landlord doesn't pay the property tax when he rents out a property. He rents out the property for enough money to pay the property tax, all the repairs and everything that the property might need, and the mortgage on the property if he's still paying a bank, and keep a little bit in his pocket on top of that. It's usually not even much, because I know a lot of landlords. The only way you can really make any money being a landlord is to own a lot of property and rent out a lot of property. If you just have one property that you're renting out, most of the time it's because you want to keep the property for some reason for yourself, for some future date, or just to have as an option, or there's just some reason that you're holding on to that property and you're renting it out to try and keep the thing self-sufficient so that you don't have to keep paying a mortgage, or you don't have to keep paying the government landlord your rent payment, all those different things. But there's lots of reasons why somebody might want to hold on to a property, but they'll rent it out so that they can try to make it self-sufficient, so that it's not money coming out of their pocket to keep it. But they're usually not making enough money to make the effort worthwhile in terms of the profit that you get month to month. You'd be better off getting a part-time job. You'd probably put more in your pocket at a part-time job than having one rental property. By the time your monthly rent gets eaten by the bank and by the tax man and by the repairs and by all the other things that go with owning it, you're left with not much at the end of the month. But the people I know that do make good money off of property rentals, they have dozens, like they have so many properties that they have to hire somebody to manage it for them because it's too much work for them to do on their own. They just, at that point, they're just sitting back and collecting the money that's left over, and they get a lump sum every month, but it's, an aggregate of all the different properties coming in at once. And so they're usually putting away enough money from that. But if they have a dozen properties and 8 of them have a major repair all of a sudden, they could be bankrupt in the snap of a finger. So I don't know. Like, it's not a game I ever want to play. I don't have the time, the patience, I could barely. I'm 49 years old, and I don't even think I'm ever going to get to a point where I could buy the shittiest house in the market. The cheapest, shittiest, most run-down home in Houston is out of my reach. I could never even afford to buy that. Whatever it is and however much it costs, it probably doesn't even have floors. It's probably full of termites and fucking cockroaches, and probably doesn't even have windows anymore. And it probably has so many holes in the roof that every time it rains, it's just like a waterfall inside on the staircase. If it even has stairs. It probably doesn't even have stairs anymore. You probably have to prop up a ladder to get from one floor to the other. If it even had 2 floors. Let's just assume it doesn't even have that. There's no chance in hell I'll even be able to buy that someday. 0. I can't even get a job as a DoorDash deliverer. My background check is still stuck. And I'm not even going to I'm talking about it, but I'm not going to go check on it or think about it or give a fuck. Every day, 5 times a day, DoorDash is sending me an email. All you got to do to start driving for us is, number one, I'm not driving, I'm riding a bike. They know that. But regardless, I get an email 5 times a day. All you got to do to start door dashing is complete your background check. So their systems don't talk to each other because I'm waiting for the background check that I submitted to be done. They should know that. They should have something in their system that says, this guy submitted his background check. Stop sending me 5 reminders every day that all I have to do is submit my background check. I did it. I just read a news article, probably because I'm talking about it, and there's a microphone here on my phone that listens to everything I say. And so the news articles that I get fed when I go to, the web browser and the different news feeds are all based on whatever I'm talking about with you guys or saying out loud throughout the day. And so a bunch of news articles popped up about DoorDash. Imagine that. Imagine that. I was talking about DoorDash, and all of a sudden, oh, you must want all the news articles about DoorDash today. Well, now there's a black market on Facebook where people will sell DoorDash accounts on the black market so that you can get around the background check and DoorDash for a living. So this is how the illegal immigrants do it. 99 out of 100 people who come into where I work are illegal immigrants with DoorDash. All I'm saying, ICE, if you're watching my videos, if you want to deport half of the illegal immigrants in Houston, sit outside fast food joints and wait for DoorDash drivers to walk out with a bag. Go up to them. Ask them a question in English. When they can't answer the question, slap the handcuffs on, throw them in the back of the van, take them down to the immigration office and see what's up. It's that simple. If you're looking for tips, there's the handy tip right there for you. You will clean out 75% of Houston's illegal immigrants right there. And you'll make it so that Americans can do DoorDash again. You'll accomplish 2 things. So DoorDash, the way the illegal immigrants do it is they have an American citizen, brother, sister, cousin, aunt, uncle, somebody who can set up an account. And then they take over the account and start driving for that, under that person's name. And then they just collect all the money from it. But now DoorDash is doing something where they will randomly flash a thing at you that says you have to scan your face. Like, before you can continue, you have to hold the camera in front of your face and put your face in this circle. And then you have to turn your head, and they're going to scan your face and make sure it matches the driver's license that was submitted with the DoorDash application. And if it doesn't, they're going to lock you out of the account. So I don't know how the way they probably get around this is they actually know the person who set up the account for them. So they have to basically go home and say, hey, Desiree or whatever, my cousin, you have to get your sister, your cousin, whatever, whoever set up the DoorDash account to scan their face into the app so that the app will be like, oh, okay, you're good to go again. You are who you say you are. And then hand the phone back to Pedro so that he can go back out and do his DoorDash runs again. And they do this all day long. In fact, you can look at the names that pop up on the DoorDash screen. When I get an order, there's a name there's a name for the customer and a name for the driver. And I can tell you that sometimes you can look at the name of the driver and be like, there's no way that guy is Shaniqua Duvall. You know what I'm saying? There's no way that guy is this name. So, but I don't even care. I got other things to do than to keep track of all the illegal immigrant DoorDashers driving around Houston. I'm just saying that most of them are. Most of the people who DoorDash in Houston are not U.S. citizens. I can assure you of this. So I'm going to call them out on it, because if they're not going to let a guy DoorDash because he said mean things on Twitter, then fuck it, man. I'm going to call them what they are. Because, I was told by somebody that another person who had a worse criminal history than me, I'm not going to say anything about it, got approved to DoorDash, no problem, with multiple felonies over multiple years. Over and over and over again, they're like, yeah, fine, go DoorDash. Have at it. But they're not going to approve me. I'm still stuck in a... See, the reason why it's taking so long is because that's what happens. Because I've had to go through this twice. And they told me, oh, the background check only takes, we usually get the results back within 24 hours. And then a week later, they'll be like, we haven't got the results back from your background check. I wonder why. Because it takes a week to compile all of the massive amount of crimes that I've committed in my life and compile a report and a document to outline it. It's just, I have such a massive criminal history that, I said so many mean things on Twitter that it takes an extra week to compile the whole list of everything and prepare this document for the prospective employer. So, I don't know, man. What time is it? Oh, we're good. I'm going to get an earlier start today than I have the entire week. And I have a direction and a focus and an actual task to start with, instead of like bumbling around going, what should I do? I know what I need to do. Like I'm picking up where I left off last night, and I actually have like 3 or 4 steps to follow to find out, basically it's a JavaScript function that I need to test out quickly by doing a half-assed job on something, just to see if the concept works. And if it does, I can clap my hands, jump out of my chair, put my arms in the air, and then, do a little dance, go take a break for a few minutes, come back. Because if it works, this is the kind of stuff that you wrestle with programming, that if you make it work, this is something I can use over and over and over and over again until YouTube decides to change their mind and break it again. And then I'll have to fix it everywhere I've ever used it. But for now, if what I think I can do works, then I'm golden. I can apply this to a lot of different projects. And I'll know exactly what to do, because I'll literally be able to just copy and paste the code that I write and change a few things around, use it for more projects. That's what we do all the time. So it'll be cool if it works. If it doesn't work, hell, if it works, I'll be able to put a CodePen together to demonstrate it, and it'll be part of my portfolio when I'm looking for jobs that require a little bit of programming knowledge. I'll have another programming sample in a CodePen document, which is, in a nutshell, a CodePen project is where you basically show off HTML, CSS, and JavaScript in a browser window where you can see all the code, and then there's a window underneath those 3 panels that shows the result of your code. And so you can set up you can do little snippets of projects. And so I demonstrate certain things in a CodePen portfolio that are above and beyond the normal expectations of somebody who does what I do for a living. Things that I think would be useful to somebody else to share and say, here's how you do this, that, or the other thing. I've got 3 good ones, 4 good ones up there. If this works today, what I'm trying to do, it's above and beyond. It's a good solution for a problem that other people can. I don't have a problem if somebody else steals the idea and uses it on their own thing. I'll put it in a CodePen because it'll add to my portfolio, and it will, it'll show that I know what the hell I'm doing. And I don't think I'm ever going to get a job in my career again, but I still want to have, I still like to be able to demonstrate things and show that I'm at least know how to do the work. But I mean, if I'm such a worthless scumbag piece of shit criminal that I'm not even going to be allowed to pick up a bag of food at McDonald's and drop it off at someone's door, how the fuck am I going to get a job being a designer or a programmer again? So we'll just have to see how it goes. I wish I could have got a car while I was at my friend's house. I was trying so hard to get myself a car, but the Texas DMV put the kibosh on that. And by the time I finally got my driver's license, the window of opportunity to get a car had shut. I had to put everything I had into getting a place to live. Because a car would open up opportunities for not only having a job, but also would allow me more flexibility in where I live. And so that's really hurting me right now more. Like, that is a major source of, because I mean, yes, I'm in shape. I can get around Houston on a bicycle, but that's it. There's no other options. Houston public transportation here is complete fucking dog shit. It's pointless and useless. It doesn't help at all. And the only way, Houston is designed for you to get around by a car. Even if you want to go to your next door neighbor's house, you really can't walk. You got to take a car. It's fucking retarded. Literally, like, to get to the neighbor's house, there's no sidewalk here. You have to walk across their yard. And the funny thing is, all up and down the street that I live on here that has no sidewalks, there's a dirt track from which proves that they need a sidewalk. It's a residential neighborhood with house after house after house after house. And Houston was like, fuck it. No sidewalks. Fuck those fucking walking assholes. They can all go fuck themselves and die. We don't fucking care. Fuck those people who walk. Fucking piece of poor people are shit. Fuck them. Let them die. Let them starve. Fuck those poor people. They don't get a fucking sidewalk. Fuck them. If you can't get a car, you're not one of us. Texas. It's fucking crazy. Like a residential neighborhood with house after house after house after house after house, all 20 feet apart, going all the way down this fucking road and no sidewalk. And then you'll see a sidewalk somewhere in a random place where there's nothing. Literally nothing but a sidewalk on the side of the road. What the fuck is that doing there? But it'll go like a quarter mile and then stop. It'll have no reason to exist, and it'll just stop some random place. Whoever designed this fucking city is a complete fucking retard. Retard. I'm using the word. It's back. We're using it all the time now. There are some other words that are coming back that we could use back in like the 90s, early 2000s that got canceled, but they're creeping their way back. I'll start using them when it's official. But right now, I'm just going to stick to your standard set of swear words, retard, and a few others. But retard's back. You can call things retarded now. Joe Rogan declared it so, and it's on a full comeback. You can call somebody retarded on Twitter and X without getting banned. I think you can call someone retarded on Facebook now and they're not going to ban you and shut your account off or delete your post unless it's in a group and the moderators delete it. But that's different than Facebook themselves deleting it. Somebody could call me retarded in my post, in the comments under my video, and I could go and delete that and say, no, I'm not going to let you call me retarded on my own channel. But I don't delete anybody's comments. I get comments all the time saying, why did you delete my comment? I don't. I've never fucking deleted someone's comment ever. If it was like spam, I don't even think I would delete it if it was spam. Like, come look at my OnlyFans account. I'm a porn whore. And it was just some stupid spam link to someone's OnlyFans account. I'd probably just leave it there. Be like, well, there's probably some dumb simp watching my fucking video today that might click on it. I don't know. I don't delete any of the comments. That sometimes they get stuck in this waiting for review. But I turned that off. I found a way to turn that off because I was like, fuck it, let them post whatever they want. I don't care. There's no such thing as bad press. The more people that comment, the more the video gets played. The more views it gets. So, I got to start doing the plugs. I'm going to start formalizing it. Give me the thumbs up. Subscribe. All that crap that every single YouTube person has to do. I hate it. I don't like listening to it. I don't like when other people do it. I certainly don't like doing it myself. But here's something that I've observed. There's one guy whose live stream pops up at different times when I'm actually sitting in my computer and I'll refresh. I'll see, oh, so-and-so is going live or is live or just started, and I'll click on it and I'll watch a live feed. Prepper Nurse 1 is one of them. Pinball Preparedness is another dude. And there's a handful of others that do live streams on a regular basis, and I just happen to note. I don't like... I usually don't... I don't like mark it on my calendar to listen to any live stream. It's more like I go to YouTube, see what's going on. Oh, so-and-so has got a live stream coming up or already on, and I'll click it. And so Prepper Nurse 1, he'll have 500 people listening to us, watching a stream all at the same time. He'll have like 100 likes, thumbs up. So at different points during the stream, he'll be like, okay, I see that there's 500 of you guys watching right now, and I only see 100 thumbs up. He's like, if I can get that thumbs up to 300, I'll shut up. I'll stop saying something about it. And all of a sudden, you look over in the corner, and the thumbs up, the counter's going ding, 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 and all of a sudden, it's up to like 200 in 10 seconds. And it works. And I know for a fact because I forget. I watch a video that I like and I move on. I watch another video that I like and I move on. And I could watch 10 or 15 videos and totally forget to hit the thumbs up. Even though I liked the video, I liked the person who put it up. I watch more YouTube than anything else. I don't watch TV. I watch a show here and there. I watched all of the first season of House of David. I got caught up on that. I don't remember what night it was. I think could have been Monday night this week. And I haven't watched anything since, other than some YouTube videos and stuff like that. All week. I don't watch TV. I was supposed to get a free TV for signing up for T-Mobile, and then they turned around and said, oh, we're not giving it to you. Just another reason not to sign up for T-Mobile. They're just a bunch of scumbags and liars. But at the same time, I'm like, a 40-inch TV. I was supposed to get it for free. I've complained about it numerous. I've had nothing but problems with T-Mobile. But I don't even know where I'd put the thing. I don't want to mount it to the wall. So I'm just like, I'd probably keep it in a box and wait until I move. Do something with it later down the road. But I don't watch enough TV to give a shit about having one right now. If I get into more like video production, it might be nice to have a TV to see what my videos look like on a TV. But that's about it. Yeah, T-Mobile sucks. Like, if I could if I get around to having like a website associated, like a blog associated with these videos, and like if I get into where I have time to do the full picture and have a central place where all this is a website where you can see it all. YouTube, TikTok. I'm not doing anything other than YouTube right now. I don't even upload my videos to Rumble anymore because that's a waste of time. I might put a space on a website, good and bad companies to deal with. Because T-Mobile is so incredibly awful. It's mind-blowing how many times I have to go and complain to their customer service about something, and their customer service is 100% useless, 150% useless. The most useless customer service I've ever seen in my life. I had to go into the T-Mobile store just to return a router, and that was a nightmare. And they treated me like shit and were rude to me right out the fucking gate. Like, I always start out polite, and I can prove it. But I walked into that T-Mobile store. I'm like, yeah, I'm just here to return a router. And they take down my name and they're like, okay, go sit over there. Wait till you're called. I'm like, wait till I'm called to hand you a box and say, here, I'm returning this. And then this whole process, they needed my driver's license. This whole thing was fucking ridiculous. I was there for like 45 minutes to return a fucking router in a box. But at least it got credited to my account, and I didn't get charged $300, at least yet. And it's been long enough that it should be okay. But let's see what the date is. It's actually, I'm reminding myself I should log in and check that out today because I'm getting close to the billing date. And if I turn around and see that they're going to whack me $300 for not returning the thing, oh my God, there's going to be such a huge fucking fit. But they told me specifically that they saw that it was returned in their system. So, I don't know. I expect them to fuck up everything they do. Every single time. Because that's what they have done so far. Every single time. But last night, on the flip side, I use a web hosting company called InMotion Hosting. It does not make any sense at all for someone who does what I do to maintain their own web server. Where am I going to have a web server in a tiny house? You know what I'm saying? Like, the websites that I'm building for people, I use a web hosting company. There are tons of them. There are tons of them. One that I've used for several years, going back a long, long time. It's called InMotion. And the number one thing about them that's great, first of all, I have complete and total control over my web server that I pay them to host. I have all these websites hosted on a server that I control. I have full and total access in every way imaginable, as if it were a server sitting in my tiny house hooked up to a rack on a fancy internet connection. Except their system's better. It's faster. It's next to the big pipes. They're a major web hosting company. But I had an issue yesterday. And they have really good technical documentation, and I could have probably found the answer to my problem quickly. But it was late at night, and I was like, I reached out to their tech support through the online chat. They come right up immediately. Like when you need to chat with tech support, you don't wait. It takes about 30 seconds for a human being to jump on, an American. I told her what was going on. I said, look, I'm having issues. My cache, server side cache, seems to be getting stuck all the time. I feel like I've fixed this before on my own, but I can't remember where to go. I'm like, I'm pretty sure this is all, my doing or whatever. I'm sure I've got something set up wrong, but can you point me in the right direction? And she goes, okay, I fixed it. And I'm like, well, that's great. And I refreshed the page and I'm like, okay, it's working again. But I'm like, can you at least point me to where to go? She's like, well, if you ever have this problem again, we can fix it for you. No problem. I'm like, well, I can fix it myself. Just point me where to go. And she goes, oh, well, you can do it through the command line in the terminal, or you can go here in your control panel, and it's listed, and I'm going to the control panel, and I click, and I'm like, oh, yeah, I remember going here before. And I said to her, I'm like, yeah, I'm going to poke around in here and see what all the options are and dig deeper than the last time I did it. And she goes, yeah, that's cool. And then I'm like, how do you turn caching off completely and turn it on? She's like, oh, just, she showed me a screenshot. And I was like, I'm like, that's actually pretty perfect. That's exactly what I need right now. And then we talked for another minute or two about how, I'm like, you guys are really fast. When I activated this website and turned it live, the speed is really nice. It's acceptable. It's really fast. I'm like, I don't want to turn caching off because I don't want it to go back to being slow, but I may need to turn it off while I'm working on it. And she goes, yeah, we understand. That's common. And she's like, just don't forget to turn it back on when you're done working. And then I dug deeper on my own, and I'm like, oh, so I can set specific URLs not to be cached. So if I'm working on a page that I need to keep refreshing 20 times an hour because I'm write a line of code, test it, see if it works, write another line of code, test it and see if it works, and go back and forth and back and forth, test, refresh, go look at it on my phone, does it work, did the last thing I did work, did this new thing work? You got to keep refreshing. You might refresh a page 50 times in a span of 4 hours on 6 different computers and 10 different web browsers just to make sure everything you did works. You're testing it at that point. And so you can't have older versions of the page showing up when you refresh. You need to see your changes immediately. So I found out, with this one tool, I can block this page from being cached. So the rest of the site will still work as normal, but this one page, every time it gets loaded, will load the latest version no matter what. And I'm like, okay, that's exactly what I need. That's even better than what I wanted to do. But their tech support, I'm telling you, there was one time I had a website for a company that I maintained, and it was my full-time job. The website wasn't my full-time job, but it was part of my job. And I get a call, somewhat angry, because we had just launched this website about a month ago, and we had a number of problems looking for a web host. This is how I found this company, because I had to reach out to a couple of friends of mine and say, who do you use for hosting? I'm kind of in a jam. I've had to switch web hosting companies twice, and every time we switch to a new web host, we get burned. I'm like, this is my last chance to find a good one. One of my friends who hosts tons of websites, he said, go here. I'm like, okay. I went there, and we didn't have good luck at first, but when we bumped up our account to a more powerful server, it was great, and the performance was really good. And we saw, but I was on thin ice at this point because they were mad at me because we tried a few web hosting companies and they were all bunk. But somehow that was my fault because I should have just known who the best one was. And so, okay, fine, whatever. Well, anyway, I get this text message from my boss saying the website's down right now and the CEO's pissed. it would be in your best interest to get this fixed right away. And I texted him back. I said, I'm on my way to pick up my son. It's probably going to be 2 hours before I get home. And he was kind of shitty about it. It's like a Friday afternoon, evening. I had left work maybe a half hour ago, and the site went down. And so it's like, let me try something. And I called their tech support. I was sitting in the parking lot waiting for my son's mother to show up so I could pick him up and take him to my house. And I get on the phone with the tech support for the web host at InMotion. And I told him, I said, yeah, it seems that our site's down. Can you take a look at that and just let me know? A, can you let me know what happened? And B, if it's something I did or messed up, can you at least tell me so I don't do it again? And they were like, okay, it's fixed. And I'm like, so what was wrong? And they were like, it was nothing you did wrong. We just had a problem with the server, but it's fixed now. You should be good to go. And I was like, you're wonderful. Thank you. It was like a 2-minute phone call. And I get back to my boss and I said, okay, it's fixed. Check it out. He refreshes it. He's like, oh, that's great. Thank you, Adam. Thank you so much. I'll let Pat know, the CEO. He's like, I'll let him know that it's working again. And like all of a sudden I'm like, I go from being a zero to a hero because in their opinion, I stepped up to the plate and did what it took to make it happen, and all I did was call tech support. But this company is so good. Their tech support is so superior. This is what I want when I call T-Mobile and I have a problem. And the problem should be that easy to fix. Okay, sir, it's done. That simple. That the level of issues that I'm having with T-Mobile should be that easy for them to fix. Literally 5 seconds. Okay, it's done. But you have to fight them and argue with them and listen to their fucking script. They have this weird ass script that they follow when you're talking to them, and it's like just a bunch of fluff where they tell you how great you are and how wonderful it is that you're their customer and all this and that. And it's like, bitch, just fix the fucking problem. Stop blowing smoke up my ass and fix the fucking problem. I don't care about your flowery bullshit and your fucking, your flowery, I don't care about, I'm not here to listen to a bunch of poetry. I'm here to get my fucking account taken care of. I need to change my address because you have the wrong address. I log into the website and I can't do it myself. Why the fuck can't you change the address on my fucking account? Why do I gotta call you people and argue for 6 fucking days in a row to change the fucking address on my account to the right address? Why can't I just do it myself on the fucking website? And then, like, why is this a week out of my fucking life to change the address on my account? This is literally one problem I had with them. They kept showing my account with the wrong address, an address I never gave them in the first place. And then the website had no ability to change the address to the right address, and I had to keep getting on with tech support over and over and over and over for a whole fucking week before some ding-dong finally figured out how to update the address on my account. For a whole fucking week. So that's the difference between a good company and a bad company. A bad company, literally, how long does it take to change an address on someone's account? Okay, sir, it's done. That simple. That simple. That's what it's supposed to be. You call T-Mobile, you got a problem that simple, you're in for 2 fucking weeks of dealing with these retarded ass dingbats from India that can't fucking fix anything. You can't understand a word they fucking say. And at the end of the 2 weeks, they'll make your problem even worse than it was before. It's just like my landlord. I started out with not having hot water, but it was kind of lukewarm, and you could jump in and take a shower and jump out. And it turned into now I don't have any fucking water. And I had to fight him just to get the cold water in the sink in the toilet so I could take a shit. That's T-Mobile. Now, I call InMotion web hosting for a pretty simple problem, and I even admit to the tech support person it's probably something I either didn't see, I either didn't know, or don't remember, or something I did wrong. Maybe I configured something wrong. And she goes, let me look. Okay, it's fixed. And I'm like, well, that's great. It's fixed. Like, literally 10 seconds. She goes, it's fixed. Why don't you refresh the page? I refresh the page. It's fixed. I'm like, okay, can you tell me what you did? She goes, well, I used the command line. And I'm like, well, I can do that too, but I'm like, is there a simpler, I don't want to have to open up my terminal every time I want to do something. She's like, oh, you can go here, go to the control panel, go to this section, it's in here, shows me a screenshot. She goes, you can do that. That should work too. She's like, and then here are some other things you might, and we went back and forth for about 5 minutes. Problem solved. Problem fixed in 10 seconds. And she educated me. And when I went to where she told me to go, I'm like, oh, I've done this before. I even remember late one night, about a month ago, I went there. It was very late at night, and I was like, that's why I didn't remember. But now I'm like, okay, every time I work on something for this site, I know exactly what to do now, so that I don't run into that problem again. And the whole conversation with tech support was about 5 minutes from beginning to end. And that's how it always is with them. I literally have never had a problem with that company to where I couldn't resolve it in a 5-minute chat without even having to make a phone call. And 9 times out of 10, even if it's something I wasn't doing right, they'll fix it for me on the spot and educate me so that I know what to do next time, so I don't have to call tech support. No arrogance, no attitude, like, no problem. And with the caveat that, hey, if you need us to do it again for you, if you need our help again, let us know. We're here for you. Like, that's how all companies should be. That's why it blows my mind when you call T-Mobile and you've got the simple, all I had to do was return a box with a router in it. And I even had the original box with all the barcodes on it and everything. And there's barcodes on the here's the thing. They gave me 2 options. They said you can go to the UPS store and have it shipped back to us. And when we get the tracking number, when it arrives at our warehouse or whatever, your account will be credited as having returned it. Or you can take it directly to a T-Mobile store. And I'm thinking T-Mobile store is probably the better bet, because then they can scan it into their system right there at the store, and it should show up as being credited to my account instantly. And that's what I asked them, and they said that would be the case. And so, but turns out, would have been more convenient for me to go to the UPS store, drop the box off, and have it shipped. Because I could have walked in the store and walked out 4 minutes later with the tracking number in my hand, and then I would just have to wait for it to arrive at the warehouse or wherever it goes. But taking it back to the T-Mobile store, that shit took about 45 minutes to an hour. And they were rude to me, and it was just a bad experience. And I'm like, how the fuck am I having a bad experience when all I had to do was drop off a box and say, here you go? That quick. They turned it into a big fucking hassle. And I'm like, when I walked out of that store, I was like, fuck these people. I will never, ever. I'm stuck with this internet right now. And so I have to eat it. I have to use it. It works when it works. And when it doesn't, I get into a big fight with them. And sometimes they give me a month's credit so I don't have to pay the bill for a month. But I've been having, since February of this year, February 1st is when I started using it. It's now April 18th, I've had to get on with their tech support 20 times, at least 20 times. And the only way that you can talk to their tech support, understand what they're saying, and actually have a chance for them to fix it is to go through Twitter, X. You have to reach out. First, you have to bitch at them on one of their public posts. And then you get a private message back from them saying that they are the better tech support group than the ones in India. Supposedly they're based in America, the ones that. And so you have to have a private message back and forth conversation with somebody at the American tech support side at T-Mobile. There's no online chat. If you call them on the phone, you get Team India. And you end up just going. Now, one time, one woman on T-Mobile called me personally. She was like, "Can I give you a call and we can go over this?" Because she's like, "I'm really, we don't usually do this, but in your case, I think it would help." And she called me. And she actually solved the problem that I was having, because I was literally this close to just canceling the account and figuring out what to do next after the fact. I probably would have just kept the account and tried to find an internet service provider to run a cable to the tiny house. But this was before April 3rd. This was back in March. And after April 3rd, I'm like, no, it's not even worth my time. But I do take note of the companies that have really good customer service versus the companies that don't. And the difference is night and day. Like, why would a company not provide that? It's not even hard to do. It wouldn't be hard. And this InMotion hosting, they're a huge web hosting company. They've got, I don't know how many customers, probably not as many customers as T-Mobile, but still. They care. Their tech support, their customer service is way beyond your best expectations. And I will not deviate. I will not host my stuff anywhere else. If that company goes downhill, all right, let's look at other options. But it's been solid for a long time. I've been using them for over 10 years. 10 years with no issues. I have to get in touch with their tech support maybe in the last year, twice. And once it was more of an account issue and like a sales kind of thing. And it had to do with the fact that long story short, I used to have an account with them, but every time I tried to log into it, they were blocking me. It was before I got arrested. So they said the best thing to do is to open a brand new account and just forget about that old account. They're like, your old account got flagged in our system. I explained at a basic level what happened. I didn't tell them I was in prison. I said I was gone for 2 years. And they're like, oh, okay, fine. They're like, yeah, something's up with your old account and we can't reactivate it. Probably because a bill became due and it got declined. The card declined, and they probably tried multiple times to bill the card and it declined, so they shut the account off. And that's what they'll do. It's just like you don't pay your electric bill, they'll send you a 10-day notice and then poof, no power. That's what they did to my web host. Like, okay, fine. It's understandable. It's what you're supposed to do. But they would not, like, I can no longer use the old account. Like, not even to spin up a new web host or, like, the account was completely locked out. They're like, just set up a new account, use the same name, use all your current information, and everything will be fine. And it was. But that was like a 10-minute chat with somebody. And it was mostly me asking them questions about, so it won't matter. That old account is just gone. Let's just forget it even exists. And, we kind of went back and forth. I had a bunch of questions. And the dude gave me a discount on my first year of web hosting above and beyond what they were already offering, just for the inconvenience of me having to set up a new account. He gave me another discount on top of my discount. He was like, "Here you go, man. Sorry you had to take that extra step. It's like, here's a little something for you." I was like, "Really? Okay, fine. That's awesome." And then, since then, yesterday was the first time. That was last August. So now it's April, and it's the first time I've had to reach out to their tech support since August. And it was a simple question. She fixed it in 10 seconds. We talked for another 5 minutes, and that was the end. It's such a different experience than when you have a simple problem with T-Mobile and they turn it into a 2-week nightmare. And they don't fix anything, and they don't fix the problem, and everything's broken and nothing works, and they don't tell you how to. They send me a new router in the thing, and they don't tell you swap the SIM cards. Put your old SIM card in the new device. That's really all they had to tell me. But they didn't tell me that, and I sat here with the new device for hours trying to get it to work, and it wouldn't. And none of the tech support people could help me. And I escalated and escalated and escalated. Nobody on the phone. In fact, somebody on the phone hung up on me, and I wasn't swearing at her. And so I had to go through like 6 people on the phone and tell the same story over and over and over again about what was going on, and everybody was like, "Well, I can't help you with that. Let me pass you on to someone else." And I'd have to tell the whole story over and over again, and nobody could fix the problem. So I get on Twitter and I say I'm going to cancel my account unless somebody helps me right now. Somebody messaged me within 5 minutes, and in the message she goes, "Can I give you a call?" And I was like, "Sure." But I wasn't expecting her to fix it. I get on the phone, I tell her what's going on. She goes, "Did you swap the SIM cards?" And I'm like, I thought about it for a second, but then I forgot to try it before getting in touch with you guys. Let's try it right now. And so I swap the SIM cards. Boom, it works. And then I told her, I said, all you would have had to do was put an instruction somewhere when you send somebody a new router to replace their old router. You could just tell the customer, take your SIM card out and put it in the new one. Is it that? And she goes, like, all of that. I went through like this 3-hour hassle because nobody told me to do that. I'm techie enough that I should have thought of that one on my own, and at one point I did, but by the time I did, I was so pissed off that, like, first I had to figure out where the SIM card even was on the thing, and, like, it's not hard to find, but it's like, the whole thing is just, they give you instructions when they send the new router, but if you follow the directions they give you, they're completely wrong. And that's where I made the mistake. Now that I know a few things about these T-Mobile home routers, I shouldn't really have a problem if I ever had to get a new one, or if I move, I know what to do, things like that. But customer service is important. And T-Mobile gives absolutely zero fucks about their customers at all. They do not care. They do not like you. They're too big to care. That's the term that I use. If a company gets so big that they finally just stop giving a fuck about their customers, that's usually the first step. That's usually the first domino to fall for the company to eventually collapse. But the problem with these cell phone providers is all 3 of them are the same. None of them give a fuck about you as a customer. They don't care whether you leave and go to a different one. They're making enough money. They just don't give a fuck. They don't care about. They purposely give you bad service because they look at the competition and they go, well, the competition's not giving them good service either. So fuck it. We don't have to make ours any better than AT&T or Verizon. But what's going to happen is this Starlink shit is going to, it's not there. Give it a few years, it's going to get to the point where it's better than a cell phone. And instantaneously, Verizon, AT&T, and T-Mobile are all going to fold. And they won't completely go out of business because they're too big to fail. But what'll happen is they'll get gobbled up by some company, probably Starlink, and they'll get merged, and then all their assets will be repurposed. So like Elon Musk might end up owning AT&T, Verizon, and well, AT&T is its own company and they've got other shit aside from their wireless cell phone network. So they might sell off AT&T wireless, but they still have fiber optic broadband. AT&T still has all kinds of shit outside of that. Same with Verizon. Verizon and AT&T, well, Verizon is a spin-off of when the Bell telephone company got split up in the antitrust bullshit. Verizon is one of the spin-off companies from that. Verizon also has other lines of business. Their fiber optic home internet and all, they'll still exist in some way, shape, or form. T-Mobile will be gone. They'll get gobbled up. They'll get bought. So the way that I think it'll happen is Starlink and T-Mobile have already partnered to where if you have a T-Mobile phone and you're out in the wilderness and you need to send a text message, your phone will be able to talk to a Starlink satellite and do it. In an emergency, when there's no other way to connect to the internet, your phone will look for a Starlink signal and connect to that. That's a new thing that they're offering now, which indicates to me they know the writing's on the wall. T-Mobile that's part of the reason why they don't give a fuck about the customers anymore, because the writing's on the wall that this Starlink shit is about to come to power and take over. It's going to get to the point where everybody has a Starlink phone. They're going to figure out how to create radio signals that penetrate through thick layers of clouds, so cloud cover won't be an issue anymore, and you will be able to get a cell phone signal from Starlink that works anywhere you are on the face of the earth without having to be near a cell phone tower. But to bolster their network and to make their network, to take the burden off of the satellites themselves, they'll buy T-Mobile so that they can buy all of those cell phone towers. And they'll integrate the satellites and the towers together into a land and satellite-based network, which will take the congestion off of the satellites in space and distribute the network a little bit more. It'll take the burden off of the bandwidth that those satellites will have to handle. So when you're moving around and you have the Starlink phone / hotspot, it'll connect to whatever's available, and it'll start connecting to cell phone towers instead of the satellites if that's the best connection it can get. And then when you're at home, you have a better antenna that talks to the satellites. It'll be using that, but it will be smart enough to switch on its own, just like when you roam with a cell phone. Back in the day when you had roaming fees, that was because you were not near your company's cell phone tower, but you're not near the T-Mobile cell phone tower anymore, but there's an AT&T tower right there. So your phone's going to switch and start talking to that tower instead, but it's going to show up as you're roaming. So you're going to get, back in the day, you would get hit with these extra fees for roaming and being on someone else's network. But they kind of got rid of that over the last few years because they had to compete with each other. So they're like, fuck it, we won't charge you any roaming fees. They used to charge you for how many text messages you sent. Then they're like, fuck it, we got to give them unlimited texts. So the competition between the three companies made it so they had to do certain things, but they also do certain things together to fuck you, like bandwidth caps. You shouldn't have a cap on the amount of bandwidth you can use. So now they turn around and they say, well, you get unlimited data if you do it on the phone, but if you use your phone as a hotspot, you only get 50 gigs, which isn't enough to use it as a hotspot. I go through about 200 to 300 gigabytes a month under regular use, and that's been consistent for the last 20 years of my life or so. I have a chart. 200 to 300 gigabytes a month is about what I download typically. And that includes, anything like Netflix and video and YouTube and my work itself. So 50 gigabytes a month isn't shit. And to get 250 to 300 gigabytes on one of these capped data plans would cost like $400 a month. So you have to have an unlimited plan. And anything that's home-based is going to be unlimited because they know nobody's going to sign up for a broadband internet connection for their house and get capped at 50 gigs a month and have a $400 bill for going over the cap. Nobody's going to go for that shit. So what's going to happen, you're going to see this. I'm telling you right now, you go back to this video in about 5 to 10 years. It's going to take a while, but Starlink is going to take over. But it's not going to be this whole thing that they're doing with T-Mobile right now is because T-Mobile sees the writing on the wall that out of the three cell phone companies, they're the ones that are going to go bankrupt and completely out of business because they got no other lines of business. AT&T and Verizon, they'll have to chop off half of their workforce, but they'll still exist as a company. So they don't have to play ball just yet. So what's going to happen is the satellite internet Starlink, the antenna is going to get smaller and smaller and smaller until you don't need an antenna and your cell phone will just work as an antenna. But you can get an antenna and use a good antenna on the side of your house, like a satellite dish or the Starlink antenna. It'll make your signal better, but you won't need it. You'll be able to use your phone. You'll be able to buy a cell phone that's primarily a Starlink phone. That's what they're going for. This is what they're trying to do. Now, and I don't know this. I'm not sitting on the board meetings and having the secret meetings and shit, but this is where it's going. He wouldn't be investing all this money if it wasn't the game plan. But in order to make it happen faster, Elon's gonna gobble up T-Mobile and turn it into T-Mobile / Starlink, or just call it Starlink. Or maybe he'll change the name to X-Link. He'll probably put a fucking X on it, like he does with everything else. Except I'm surprised Tesla doesn't have a bunch of X's in it, in their car name. There'll be some sort of X that he'll put on a Tesla at some point in time, but he's gonna get Starlink good enough to where you can buy a Starlink phone that talks directly to those satellites, and it will work no matter where you are on Earth. You can be out in the middle of the Great Smoky Mountains National Park on a hike 100 miles away from the nearest cell phone tower, and their AT&T, Verizon, T-Mobile, none of these companies will give you even one little bar of signal strength while you're back there, and you'll have a Starlink phone that gets 5 bars, no problem. Tree cover, you might get 3 bars because of the tree cover. But if you can find an open mountaintop, if you can find someplace with no tree cover, boom, you've got a full strength signal out in the middle of the most remote wilderness in the United States. You get stranded somewhere out in the middle of the Utah salt flat desert with no cell phone signal. You got Starlink, boom, full internet, full strength signal. You can sit there and watch fucking Netflix while you wait for the rescue helicopter to arrive. You're out in the middle of nowhere. You're in the slot canyons of Utah, lost beyond your wildest imagination, but you can watch Netflix till your battery dies on your phone. And if you have a solar panel, you're good to go. You can watch Netflix all day until the rescue helicopter shows up. You can probably video chat with the rescuers. You can FaceTime with the guy on the helicopter while you're stranded. all because of Starlink being available out everywhere you are. So that's the goal. But the bandwidth is limited. It's congested. There's already so many customers signing up for it that they're having a hard time keeping up with the bandwidth demand. And the more you spread out the bandwidth to more people, the slower everybody's connection gets as a result. And they're trying to guarantee certain speeds to people. So what's going to happen is he's going to gobble up T-Mobile. It's probably going to be T-Mobile Elon Musk is going to buy T-Mobile, merge it with Starlink, and then your phone, your Starlink phone, will be able to talk to the towers and the satellites. It'll probably go the other way. It'll probably be your T-Mobile phone will become a Starlink phone. And your T-Mobile phone will go from... They're already starting to do it. But the companies are going to become one company. That's what I see. And unfortunately, I don't know anything about customer service with Starlink, if it's any good or not. But if T-Mobile is if T-Mobile... I don't think Elon Musk wants to control his own companies. So he's not going to let T-Mobile take him over. He's going to take over T-Mobile. He's going to buy it. And he's going to merge it with Starlink. And he's going to create this ultimate phone network that uses a combination of towers on the ground and satellites in space, so that no matter where you are, you've got a really powerful signal on your phone. And at the same time, it's going to just... Nobody's going to want anything else. The pricing will be competitive with Verizon, AT&T. AT&T and Verizon may as well just go home that day. The day that happens, those two companies are finished. But they're too big to fail. AT&T and Verizon will just be known as home internet options, fiber optics. And then they'll be competing with Comcast and Optimum and Frontier and Ted Turner's whatever they change the name of his stuff all the time, but all the different cable companies and the fiber optic companies will be competing for home-based cable line-based internet. And the only way that they'll be able to compete is how fast they can get the speeds, because the wireless networks won't be able to compete speed-wise with what the cable-based stuff, especially fiber optic, can bring. Fiber optic in your house, you can get gigabit speeds. They're not going to have that on the wireless. The wireless is just going to give you the mobility. But it's coming. That's what's coming. And hopefully when they do take over, the customer service won't be total garbage. But now I've been sitting here chatting for a long time. Mark that prediction, because I'm going to say 5 years from now, you'll see it start. Like 5 years from now, you're going to see it. It'll probably take 10 years before it becomes commonplace, and before... Like, you won't see somebody walking around with a phone that's not a Starlink-based phone. How it all shakes out and how these pissing matches end up shaken out it's coming, though. It's coming. And it's going to be a godsend for people that live. It's going to make it so that I can have a place in a really remote spot to live. My dream home of having a shack way back in the woods on 20 acres of land with 2 tire tracks, a trail, a 4-wheel drive trail with 2 tire tracks in a grass path going back to my place, with a rusty chain going between 2 trees and a rusty sign hanging on the front that says trespassers will be shot on sight. And I'm not allowed to own a gun ever again, but I don't think there's anything illegal about telling people they'll get shot and just, bluffing it. And because that'll probably keep 99% of the people from coming back to my shack. Nobody's going to want to take the chain off the tree to get back on my 4-wheel drive driveway if they see that rusty sign hanging off the chain. So that's all. That's my dream home, and someday my internet will be fast enough at my dream home that I'll be able to sit and do my work, peace and quiet, be one with nature, and we'll see what happens. But until that day, peace out.